Israel says Gaza war likely to last another 7 months as tanks probe Rafah. Which is crazy because, again, the Gaza Strip is like the size of a single large metropolitan area, and Israel has a massive military, and they've already cleared out the entire, all of it. Isn't it a wacky coincidence that 7 months would more or less run out to the end of Biden's term? That's pretty crazy. I mean, pardon me for being a little conspiratorial about the guy who absolutely, definitely, 100% wants Trump to be president. But yeah, I don't know. Makes me wonder if a deliberate goal at this point is to draw things out to a point where Netanyahu knows he has a completely unwavering ally. Yeah, fascists do love fascists. 7 months. And of course, this article opens with information that was apparently, not available to the Department of State just yesterday, that Israel has in fact sent tanks into Rafah outside of the corridor that they had established beforehand. Kirby is like, I haven't heard of that. You really think Israel would do that? Just go and talk to the American State Department and lie? Of course, he knew at the time that there were tanks in Rafah. He wasn't surprised by that at all. He just wants to lie to defend Israel. Washington has said the Rafah assault did not amount to a major ground operation that would trigger a change in U.S. policy. Nothing will. They could nuke Rafah. It wouldn't matter. Who cares? Israeli tanks moved into the heart of Rafah for the first time on Tuesday, despite an order from the International Court of Justice to end its attacks in the city. Of course. The World Court has said Israel has not explained how it would keep evacuees from Rafah safe and provide food, water, and medicine. Of course, asking them to explain that would be anti-Semitic. Any chance this might crack even a little bit of Biden's Zionist brain rot? What part of murder-suicide pact didn't track with you when I said it? We're in it for the long haul, baby. This is it. This is our life now. We have the State Department talking to the press corps, just saying like, Israel isn't moving tanks in, and if they are, it's only one tank, and if it's a lot of tanks, it's not enough to constitute a major operation. And if it is enough to constitute a major operation, then who cares anyway? Because we'll just move the goalpost. We're in it for life or until we die. That is how it works. Received distress calls where drones targeted displaced citizens as they moved from areas they were staying toward the safe areas. They're just openly bombing civilians, by the way. Like they've been doing this for a while, but I want you to know that right now, over at IDF headquarters, their drone guys are just pressing big red buttons whenever they want to make a red splash with Palestinian babies. Like that, like any pretense of, well, there's an operant in the area or whatever is gone. It's just very direct, very open retaliation. I still believe that this is being done as retaliation for the missiles that were fired into Tel Aviv, because fascists love disproportionate collective punishment. They love that shit. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said on Wednesday Israel needed to craft a post-war plan for Gaza and that without it, lawlessness, chaos, and a Hamas comeback in the enclave could ensue. I mean, man, it's been 7 months and they still haven't developed any kind of game plan, and that's probably because their plan is to just kill people. Like, come on. Do you think Israel knew there would be a secondary explosion in the refugee camp they bombed? I don't even know if there was one. Like, we don't have any second guessing going on in the ground down there. We don't really, like, Israel has blocked or killed all the journalists. The bits of information, we're getting little scraps of info out of there. Who knows? They could have they just one big explosion, multiple explosions. Who knows? Like, who cares, right? The IDF wants to kill civilians. I don't think they're doing this in an operational capacity as like a stated goal. I think that they have a bunch of bloodthirsty psychopath soldiers from the like private to officer level, and that the basic attitude is like, go crazy, who cares, whatever. Like, they're not conducting this in like a Holocaust-esque fashion where they're doing this like top-down organized industrialized slaughter. They're basically just like they're doing the modern equivalent of letting your soldiers loose into local villages to rape and pillage as they please. It's not like operational policy. It's not top-down planning. It's not something you would lay out in a game plan. But, the loot and pillage privilege is kind of what the soldiers expect. And you can't overdo it, because if you kill everyone, there will be no one to tax next year or like farm. But you can do it a lot. This happened all the time back in the Middle Ages. It still happens today. It's happening right now. Yes, it also gives the state more plausible deniability, right? Why commit to writing down like top general plan, kill everyone, like some kind of infant G.I. Joe villain, when it's much easier to just delay, be incompetent, and just satiate the sadistic impulses of your lunatic ethno-nationalist, soldiers. I've read apparent interviews with IDF members, and yeah, the culture is fuck 'em. Any of these kids will grow up to be Hamas, so free game on anything that moves. Not surprising considering the fact that Israeli officials have been openly cheering collective punishment the entire time. Why would soldiers not follow through on that? You know, like, what's stopping them? Well, at any rate, the Nakba was actually quite similar. David Ben-Gurion never actually ordered an expulsion, but he implied it several times. Yes, exactly. That's often how stuff like this goes. You rarely get like, here's the game plan, be evil. Most often there's like a culture of cruelty, or a culture of like, you can get away with this, and they just do. And that avoids having like a paper trail or any direct orders to acknowledge, Happens all the time. All the time. Anyway, the idea that things might last this long, I mean, they're basically just using the civilians as targets in a firing galley or a gallery. But I do genuinely think the reason why projections are going out to 7 months is because they want to signal to the Biden administration that this is continuing no matter what. They want to signal broadly that like this is going to be all the way up to November. All the way up to November, right? Like, and you have to laugh at all of those dumb, liberals who were like, oh, who cares about foreign policy? Who cares about foreign war? This will all blow over soon. It's gonna head all the way up to the election, man. All the way up. They'll blame young voters for turning. It's gonna be miserable, dude. There are going to be like Palestinian protesters at every major democratic event. We're probably going to have the debates interrupted by people saying like free Palestine, you're a butcher, like that kind of thing, It's like the whole way up. And it'll all be, every single bit of it, to be clear, the Democrats' fault. All of it. Every single bit of it, entirely on them, You keep calm and you keep smiling to the audience while like quietly shutting down all internal discourse, censoring Rashida Tlaib, trying to crack down on it. Meanwhile, you're destroying the country, you're destroying the lives of Palestinian people, you're destroying your own re-election chances, and you're doing it because what? You're too cowardly to adjust the status quo with Israel, You don't want to have an awkward conversation with your abusive friends, so you'd rather just, leave their bad behavior to sit indefinitely. Why would you get in hot water for that, Sianis? Have you seen that clip from the Tantura documentary of Nakba soldiers talking about their experience? I mean, yeah, I've seen this. Just like bragging about doing war crimes. Yeah, I've seen it. I don't really think it's relevant to the any point that's being made, though. I feel like there's an element of like national determinism that I don't like. If you're like, yeah, modern IDF soldiers are brutal. Look at how they were 80 years ago. It's like, okay, I mean, I get it, but I don't. It feels like the point that's being made here is a bit essentialist. Biden is a pretty serious Zionist. I am not sure it's cowardice. Oh, no, it is cowardice to a large extent. Otherwise, Biden would have been like actually defending Israel's behavior rather than doing this weaselly, like the red line is always one step further into the horizon bullshit. I don't know. Give me motivation to get up. Fuck off. Stay mute. Get out of here. I'm not your goddamn source of inspiration, okay? I'm a funny YouTube haha man. Get it? You gotta do it yourself. But Vaush, this isn't funny or making me haha. Yeah, well. What I don't get is how he is Zionist enough to support Netanyahu this much, but sane enough to hate his violence. I don't know. I think that like he's doing the liberal thing where he's doing the thing that like Pelosi said about how she wants there to be a strong Republican Party, in that Biden needs there to be an Israel and a Zionist project. He thinks that Netanyahu is the wrong guy to lead the project, but he thinks that there's no way to navigate this right now without like you either abandon Zionism, which he won't do, or you defend Netanyahu, and he's chosen to do that. He wants there to be a more respectable person in charge of genociding Palestinians. Yes, effectively, yes. It's genuinely haunting how people were at the start of this, even though it was always clear to anyone paying attention how bad this would get. I mean, I felt like as soon as October 7th happened, I felt like this was pretty obviously like the big turning point, which it has turned out to be, of course. I didn't expect it to get this bad. You know, like I'll admit that I expected it to be pretty bad. I didn't expect it to be this bad. Um, I guess I also didn't really expect the Democrats to defend Israel this full-throatedly. Like, I expected them to continue to treat Israel as an ally. I didn't expect the Biden administration to go out, you know, on one foot and lie so aggressively to protect Israel. I expected more open critique or more like half-hearted support, not like this level of commitment, where the Democrats are like agreeing with Republicans that campus protests against genocide are anti-Semitic, insane shit like that, you know. At this point though, like, guys, I don't know about you, but I feel like for the most part the media isn't even going along with it that much anymore. There was a big, like, synchronized media push at the beginning, right, like right after October 7th, where they were pushing misinformation, they were highly narrativizing their articles. But now, if you go on AP News, Reuters, whatever, for the most part, it's just daily update, Israel is belligerent and people are dying, you know? There's nothing to report on except for Israel's barbarity. And then you look at the White House press corps during these State Department meetings or conferences, and every question is pretty pointedly like anti-Israel. Why are you lying to us? What does this mean for November? I don't want Trump to win. Ooh, that sucks for you. None of this is good for Biden. I'll say that much. There's not a whole lot to twist the reality of the situation either, I think. It's just what's going on. Yeah, there was more of an effort from Israel to provide like a positive narrative. By positive, I mean like an affirmative one. Like, this is the way to think about things. Look in the Al-Shifa hospital. Look at this calendar. This was a hostage calendar. Look at this iPad with Hitler in it. This was what every Palestinian read. They read Mein Kampf before bed, blah, blah, blah. There was more effort from Israel and the IDF to like assert a narrative. And Western media picked up on it, you know, and they rebroadcasted it uncritically to a large extent. But I don't think Israel's trying to do that much anymore. Now it just seems like the only narrative Israel is interested in pushing is like, you think we shouldn't murder children? That's anti-Semitic. Go over to the UN, shred the UN you know, articles. You're doing this. You're doing this. Oh, wow, you want us to like not bomb civilians? That's very Holocaust of you. Like, it seems like there's not even, no effort is being made now to give the pro-Israel guys a like positive, I'm presenting this narrative kind of story, way of looking at things. It's just like, do you think it's anti-Semitic to ask Israel politely to not kill as many children? That's it. Every public appearance of an Israeli official that I see, they get humiliated. They talk, you know, the like Israeli correspondent, that fat who was talking to the, you know, the news station the other day, the one we looked at, that one who was getting choked out by his collar. Like he's a clown, and it looked like he was just getting trashed every time he opened his mouth because his lies are so blatant.